And so, yeah, I would love, because you have so many good stories and stats, and like, you know, I love the way you describe compounding interest and saving. And like, I think for this episode, it's so important for people to walk away with knowing, number one habit, start the habit of savings, right?
So that is number one, start the habit of savings.
Yeah.
And start it on a weekly basis, you know, whatever that is, $5, $10, $20. It's not the amount, it's the habit of savings.
Yeah.
And once you get that habit started, what'll happen is you put that little piece of money aside. It's kind of in that long-term money magnet account. And so it starts to grow for you. And then as you start to increase your income and you start to make more money, you can increase that pile. So that would be the first habit. And then, you know, looking at, I loved how you said it, you have your indexed accounts, you have your short-term savings. I think you said you have your higher risk savings. And we all have different buckets, right? We have our risk bucket and we have our safe bucket. And some people are risk 75%, some people are safe 25%, and some people are versa versa. My circus story made me, I'm 100% no risk guy.
Yeah.
And I guess when I say no risk, people always say, Andre, everything has risk. And it's like, well, true. And so that's a detail in the Money 101 class where we talk about what's out there. What I wished I had learned, and we put this class together and formed it from what I would have told myself 30 years ago. And it's number one, that $5 a day can make a big difference. People don't realize this, but $5 a day in a savings account over a 40-year period at a decent interest rate, like 8%, it's $500,000.
Yeah.
To your point about compound interest. It's like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Second principle is realizing that the differences between compound interest, 2, 4, 8%, 12%. And then something really big for entrepreneurs and solopreneurs and real estate investors is that what are taxes doing to your money? And after I'm 29 years as an entrepreneur. I started my first business when I was 19, and I kind of became unemployable. What I've learned through lots of tax people and lots of taxes and saving in taxes is that there are some tax favored strategies in this country that we can be leveraging, that we can be using. And so it's a bonus for me to be on the financial preservationist side, right? Protecting my clients' money from loss due to stock market performance, protecting my clients' money from taxes using these tax favored strategies, and then protecting their incomes, their financial households in the event that something happens. And so I get to take almost 30 years of personal experience of running a business and doing tax returns and being taught by my accountants how to do that and what's the best way to do that and what's out there that maybe you haven't thought of, or maybe you have thought about it and you just need to hear somebody say, good job, keep doing it that way. It's a big deal, is understanding those three pieces of your money.
Will you talk about when you say financial households, like say more what you mean by that?
Yeah. So I shouldn't say most, a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of business owners, one of the places they save money is, hey, I don't have health insurance. And health insurance, I remember when health insurance just 10 years ago, all of a sudden it's $900 a month for health insurance. And why are we buying health insurance? Because if something happens to us, a life event, heart attack, stroke, cancer, the biggies, we want to make sure that we're protected. We want to make sure that we have money to pay for us. Well, what people don't realize is there's an instrument out there called living benefits, came on the market just about 20 years ago. And it's very simple. If you have a life event you live through, heart attack, stroke, cancer, the big three, a terminal illness or a chronic illness, like a long-term care event, what living benefits does is it kicks in $5,000, $7,000, $10,000 a month, just depending on what you need. A quick story. I had a business owner, him and his wife came to my Money 101 class 2 years ago. He's a builder outside of Evergreen, Colorado. And he comes to the class, wife says, hey, I want those living benefits. And the husband's like, I don't think we need it. We're young, our kids are little. And she says, no, please, let's get those living benefits. Thank you, ladies, for helping us men make decisions we often procrastinate. So they get living benefits, and a year later, he has a tumor. He has actually 16 seizures over 3 days, hospital, tumor, they remove it. Doctor says, oh my gosh, I got to tell you, you're terminal. And whether it had been a heart attack or whether it had been cancer, whether it had been stroke, we've seen all of these happen. What their living benefits did is kick back a check to them of $800,000. And so that family hasn't missed a beat financially. It's a small niche piece of the planning stage in the financial world that is just not talked about. Mm-hmm. And most people in America today, for every one guy like me that's talking about living benefits, there's 600 people out there that are in the financial world because they don't see it as important. They would rather talk to you about, let's put your money in the market, let's charge you 2 or 3%, so that the stockbroker, banker, 401k guy is making their management fee. And not anti-stock market or stockbroker, but just that recognition that that's an important piece. And then you can align that with some tax-favored savings accounts. You can align that with some indexed accounts. And it's kind of looking at the whole holistic picture of, well, let's make sure we have a plan in case something happens. What's the backup? What do we need to do to make sure? A friend of mine got in a car accident, and what living benefits did for them is he woke up, couldn't move his legs, couldn't feed himself, and it turned on a payment of $6,000 a month, so that they didn't miss a beat financially.
Yeah. I mean, you know, when you're saying this, it's making me think so much about the entrepreneurial path and how, you know, like you don't have benefits already, right? So then right. Depending on how you've structured your business, you know, depending on if you're an S corp or what kind of corporation you are, you might not have a salary, which means if you get hurt, you have no benefits.
Correct.
And you can't file for unemployment. Right. For a lot of structures of businesses. So then go, oh crap, what am I going to do in that case? And if you're the primary breadwinner, really in trouble, you know, so not only are you having a sickness, then on top of it, you're having this financial crisis that's going to cause strain for your marriage, strain for your family. Yeah. I mean, this is like, yes. I mean, wealth protection to me is one of those things that people do overlook often, I think.
Yeah. And let's say that, let's say you did have health insurance. Okay, cool. So health insurance pays the doctor.
Yeah.
But what doesn't health insurance pay?
Yeah.
Your mortgage, food on the table, your insurances, your car payment. But if you have a business loan or if you have a rent, or it doesn't pay those extra pieces.
Or alternative medicine, right? Like I'm really big into alternative medicine. Like I don't always want the Western medicine route.
That's correct. So I invite folks to think of living benefits like this. Let's say you have life insurance. And so your life insurance, whatever you're paying, $50, $100, whatever you're paying a month, life insurance is only going to pay you if you pass away, if you have to die to get the money. What living benefits does, I invite people to think of it like this. That same $50 or $100 that you were paying for life insurance, what I find is my clients can get life insurance and living benefits, which pays them now for terminal illness, that critical, which is heart attack, stroke, cancer, or like a long-term care event that they live through. And so now at least they're going to bed at night, sleeping well, knowing if something happens, they're not going to miss a beat.
To listen to the full episode, head on over to nfacoaching.com, hit the podcast link, and it'll take you to all of the full episodes. And go ahead and leave some comments. I'd love to hear from you to know how these inspirational interviews, tips, and tools are impacting you in your life and business. And be sure to hit that subscribe button so you never miss out on any of the Max Potential Habits episodes.